In November 2023, it was confirmed that a sixth Jason Bourne movie is officially in the works. But with Matt Damon still unsure about returning, Bourne 6 could face some big challenges. The Bourne franchise is a series of action films based on Robert Ludlum's books, centered around Jason Bourne, an amnesiac who slowly uncovers that he's actually a CIA assassin. So far, there have been 5 movies: The Bourne Identity, The Bourne Supremacy, The Bourne Ultimatum, The Bourne Legacy, and Jason Bourne. With Bourne 6 now in development, let's dive into everything we know about the upcoming movie. The Bourne franchise has been a fan favorite among action lovers, but it hasn't always had a smooth ride. For instance, Matt Damon, who plays Jason Bourne, wasn't a fan of The Bourne Ultimatum. He had major issues with the screenplay, which led him to step away from the series for a while, passing the baton to Jeremy Renner, who played Aaron Cross in The Bourne Legacy. Even though Damon eventually returned for 2016's Jason Bourne, there's no guarantee he'll sign on for Bourne 6. In fact, Damon hasn't said much about the sequel at all. While the new movie is being written with hopes of bringing Jason Bourne back, everything could fall apart if Damon decides not to return, and that's a real possibility. Given Damon's history with the Bourne series, it's not a stretch to think that if the script doesn't meet his expectations, he might walk away again. He's done it before, leaving after the Bourne Ultimatum in 2007 and only coming back in 2016 when a new screenwriter was involved. So whether Bourne 6 happens or not is pretty much riding on Damon's opinion. Damon's involvement is crucial, not just because he's the face of the franchise, but because the movies tend to do better when he's in them. While the Bourne Legacy with Renner didn't flop, it didn't reach the same level of success as Damon's films. Jason Bourne made the most money out of all 5 movies, so if Damon returns for one last outing as Jason Bourne, the movie stands a strong chance of being a hit. Now, the big question is, can Bourne 6 still happen without Matt Damon? The answer is yes, but it would definitely change the game. The Bourne franchise doesn't necessarily crumble if Damon doesn't return. We've seen this before with the Bourne Legacy in 2012, where Jeremy Renner stepped in as Aaron Cross. While it wasn't the massive hit the Damon films were, it proved that the series could still move forward with a different lead. This means Bourne 6 could follow the same path, either bringing back Renner or finding a fresh new action star to take over. Sure, recasting or shifting focus to a different character is risky, but it could also pay off big time. A lot of this would depend on finding the right actor, someone who can match Damon's intensity and bring something new to the table. If they nail that, Bourne 6 could still be a success, even without its original lead. That said, most fans would agree that getting Matt Damon back is the best way to go. His return would generate the most hype and keep the continuity fans love intact. But if he decides to sit this one out, the franchise can still survive. On that note, there are a few other familiar faces Bourne 6 could bring back alongside Damon should he return. One standout option is Alicia Vikander's Heather Lee, who made her debut in Jason Bourne. Despite it being her only appearance so far, she left a strong impression. As the head of the CIA's Cyber Ops division, Lee's motives were murky throughout the movie. By the end, it became clear that she was ambitious. She wanted to be the CIA director and was willing to do whatever it took to get there, including killing the current director. The ending of Jason Bourne saw Lee expressing interest in bringing Bourne back into the fold at the CIA, but she made it clear that if he refused, she wouldn't hesitate to take him out. Bourne, of course, recorded this conversation, leaving the outcome up in the air. This unresolved tension makes Heather Lee a perfect candidate for the primary antagonist in Bourne 6. Her cunning and ambition would create a fresh challenge for Bourne, especially since she knows the system and could outmaneuver him in ways we haven't seen before. Reintroducing Vikander's character could add depth and intrigue to the plot, especially if Bourne finds himself facing off against someone who wants to manipulate him back into the life he's been trying to escape. There's a lot of potential for a game of cat and mouse between Bourne and Lee, which could be a gripping new direction for the series. At the end of the day, while Bourne 6 can survive with a new lead, the best-case scenario is to bring back Matt Damon and pit him against characters like Heather Lee. This combination of familiar faces and new threats could reinvigorate the franchise, ensuring its continued success while giving fans the intense action and mind games they've come to expect from the Bourne movies. Aside from Jason Bourne and Nicky Parsons, one of the most significant and consistent characters in the Bourne franchise is Pamela Landy, played by Joan Allen. She first appeared in the Bourne Supremacy as the deputy director of the CIA, hunting Bourne down, though we later learned she was manipulated by a frame job. Over the course of the series, her character evolved from a pursuer to an ally of Bourne. By the end of the Bourne Ultimatum, Landy even testified before the Senate to expose the corrupt operations of Treadstone and Blackbriar. Landy made a brief but crucial appearance in the Bourne Legacy, where her integrity was put on the line. Noah Vosen, the Blackbriar supervisor, claimed in front of the Senate that the whole program was created to track down Bourne. Vosen went a step further by accusing Landy of treason for helping Bourne, muddying her fate as we never really saw the outcome of these accusations. Bringing her back in Bourne 6 could not only clear up what happened, but will also allow for some much-needed continuity and closure for one of the franchise's key figures. Having Pamela Landy return could reignite some of the political tension and stakes that made the earlier Bourne films so thrilling. That being said, there's an argument for Bourne 6 moving on from Matt Damon altogether. While he's undeniably the face of the franchise, Jason Bourne marked a low point for the series. Fans who were hoping for a return to the gritty, tension-filled atmosphere of the original trilogy were left disappointed. Sure, the action sequences were still solid, but the magic of the earlier films wasn't quite there. The brutal, raw intensity of Bourne's original journey was replaced with something more predictable and, frankly, escapist. In the original trilogy, Bourne's survival was never guaranteed. He was constantly one step away from getting caught or killed, and his battle to uncover the CIA's dirty secrets had real stakes. In Jason Bourne, his victory felt inevitable. The sense of predictability drained the movie of its tension, leaving it feeling flat compared to earlier installments. Instead of feeling like Bourne was in real danger, we were left with a protagonist who seemed indestructible, while all his closest confidants were killed off. This imbalance made it difficult to care about the stakes. If Bourne 6 is going to bring back Matt Damon, it needs to ensure the story has the emotional depth and stakes to justify it. Otherwise, it might be time for the franchise to pass the torch and explore new characters, or perhaps give Bourne a meaningful send-off. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.